All right, we're continuing in session D, special effects and effect controls on page 19. So we started with transitions because transitions are pretty easy to understand. Drag them to the head or the tail of the clip. If you don't want them, click on the little words while you're zoomed up and press delete. Really easy. But most of the other effects don't work that way. That's how transitions work. Also in here, you're going to see a lot of video effects. There's also audio effects, and those video effects are going to do lots of other things. I say the video effects are more like Photoshop-y things that you can do rather than transitions, okay? So with other types of effects, we have to use the effect controls panel to make changes to those. So let's click on the glass ball footage, for instance. I'm also going to move my timeline playhead so you can see. I'm in about 15 seconds or so. But I'm clicked on the glass ball, okay? And notice over here under effect controls, while I'm clicked on glass ball, it will say video glass ball, so you can tell that's where you're at, right? And then we can do things to this clip. So we could change the motion and position and the scale. Those are things we've talked about in the past. But there's some additional items over here that we have not used. What we are going to do is we're going to drag in a camera blur effect. Now this time I'm going to type the word blur in here. I have a bunch of them, but notice under video effects and blur and sharpen, there's one called camera blur. I'm going to drag that onto this clip, okay? Now on your effect controls, it's going to add that to the list of things. So let's drag and drop it. Now look, in your effect controls, it now says towards the bottom of the list, camera blur. Now right now it's blurring our entire clip with a 25% blur, and you could point to that number and turn that blur down or like make it crazy. Okay, so you can choose your level of blur. I'm just going to set mine about 14 for now. But I don't want the whole thing to be blurry. I want most of it to be blurry, but this little ball to be in focus. Okay, so to do that, we're going to have to add what's called a mask. So I'm going to click on the little ellipse mask, and there's also a 4-point polygon and a freehand mask. So if you wanted to draw specific shapes, you could do that with those, but a circle is fine for us. I'm going to click the ellipse mask. It puts a circle on here, which I'm going to then pick up and put over top of the circle. And you can use the little handles to size it to make it look like it's, you know, the right size. There's also some additional handles in here. So this circle handle is the mask feather, and notice over here there's a button that says mask feather, but if I pull that, it feathers the edges of the mask so it more gradually goes from one to the other, and if I do that, I can make this a little bit bigger. Right? Something like that. There's also a mask expansion, which makes the mask bigger or smaller. But what we want to do is, this is the opposite of what we want. So we're going to check the box that says inverted. That flips it. So now we have this little ball with the part that we want that's actually showing. Okay? And again, we can still modify the blur values if we don't like the level of blur, if it's too much or too little or whatever. You can still mess with that feather. So you could do it from within here, or you could do it from out there. Okay? And, you know, it's going to move that little line, so you can see it's the same one you would move if you were doing it yourself. And then you can expand the mask if you just want it to be a little bit bigger or a little bit smaller. Okay? Either way, once you get it all set, it's set. That's pretty much it. Easy peasy. Okay? Now notice that we have red here because this is not rendered. So it's red and it may not play smoothly. So just press enter when you see red, and that's going to render the video preview, and then it'll turn that part green, and then that part will run just fine. Okay? All right, so that's page 19. Let's go ahead and move on to page 20, which is the last page in this session. We're going to scrub over to the butterfly over here, and we're going to click on the clip. So right now we have this purple-blue butterfly, which kind of doesn't match anything. Like, you know, maybe a green or a red would look good, but this purple looks very out of place for this clip. So we're going to drag in. I'm going to come over here and type the word tint, and you'll see under video effects color correction, tint is in here. So I'm just going to drag it over and drop it on the butterfly clip, and then look in your effect controls and you will see tint. Now, one thing to mention, if you drag in something and you're like, you know what, I do not want that, you can get rid of these. First off, you can hit the FX button to turn it off just temporarily, or you can right click by the word and just hit clear, and then it's gone. So some people don't realize if they just keep dragging effects, you're stacking the effects. So, you know, if you don't need an effect, don't just keep dragging more in there. Go delete the ones that you don't need. Okay, so notice that it tinted it to black and white. And over here on this side, it does indeed say map black to black, map white to white. So you can see our colors here. And we do kind of want to leave black alone. And so we're going to click on map white to 2 and click on the color box. And I'm just going to come down and grab like a red color and hit OK. There we go. See, that looks much better with his jacket. Okay, that's pretty much it for that one. Next step, we're going to go to our man arms clip, which is right still also in this section. And we're going to use a crop effect. Crop does just like it does on your phones or anything else. It's how we get rid of parts. So like if you've ever seen a split screen or like Brady Bunch boxes, you would use crop effects to do those. So it's under transform and crop. We're going to drag crop down to man arms. Now, it doesn't look like it did anything. And a lot of effects are like that. If you don't make changes in the effect controls, they don't do anything. So you have to actually know what you're doing, or you have to at least be willing to go play. And the good news is, if you play and it's awful, then you can delete it, right? You can also hit this reset button next to it, which resets the effect to before that you made any of those changes. All right, so we're going to crop the left and the right of this clip by 25% because we want half. So down here where it says left crop, I'm going to type in 25 and hit enter. Where it says right crop, I'm going to type in 25 and hit enter. If you know you want half and it's not centered footage, you could play with those numbers like 20 and 30 or, you know, 15 and 35 or whatever. But if I know I want it in half, that's what I need to do. And then also I could pick it up and drag it to the side, or I can split the number on position and it will scoot it halfway over. So it's set to 960 now. Half of 960 is 480. We're doing math here. Hit enter. And now that's scooted over to that side. Pretty easy there, right? All right, so we've got that in there. It's scooted over to the left. We've got the butterfly above his head. We're looking good right here. All right, one more effect that we're going to do here on this is a green screen effect. So go back over to your project panel. Locate butterfly green screen, and he's a blue butterfly on a green background. We are going to only pull in a couple of seconds, the final 2 seconds of this butterfly green screen. So remember to pre-edit, double click, and in the source monitor we want 2 seconds. Now I'm gonna, right there, I'm at 2 seconds. So I'm going to put an out point here, and then I'm going to go to the very beginning and put an end point, and then I'm going to pick up this 2 seconds and just drag it to the end. To me, that's easier because I don't know how long it was and I didn't want to have to like do backwards math. So there's my 2 second marker. Okay, so we've got 2 seconds, and we do not want to have any audio. So we're just going to grab the video and we're going to drag it to the 20-second mark. Now I'm not at 20 seconds, so I need to do that over here first. Okay. And again, I'm using my arrow key on my keyboard to get to 20. Okay, and we are going to put this one on video 3 above the flower clip. So video only up to video 3. And basically it's going to end when the flower clip ends. Now it has a green screen, so obviously we cannot see anything underneath it because the green is green. So getting rid of green screen, that is called keying. Doesn't really matter what kind of editor you're using, it's called keying. If I hit the X here, and I go to video effects and keying, you'll see there's various options for keying. So you can use like a color key, so it doesn't have to be green, it could be a different color. You could use color key. It has some sliders. I really like ultra key because it seems to just do it in one shot really quickly. And you can drag multiple keys. So if you had a background that wasn't perfectly lit, you might need 2 ultra keys to get both shades of green. That's something that you might have to deal with. All right, so we're going to drag this ultra key and drop the ultra key on this butterfly clip in the timeline. Okay, so here I go, grabbing it, dragging it, and then now I need to pull up the effect controls. So I'm going to have to switch over here because I'm on my source pre-edit. Let's go to effect controls. and make sure it says that you're clicked on butterfly green screen, and scroll down and you'll see Ultra Key. Right now it says key color, and I don't have a color set, so I'm going to click on the eyedropper icon and then click in the green part. So hit your eyedropper and click in the green part. Oh, it's funny, I can't do that on this screen. So this happens sometimes when you're recording, because when you have two screens, it gets mixed up as to which is which. So this is funny. When I do it without recording, I can do it without a problem. So anyway, you would click on your eyedropper and try to find your key color. I'm going to have to like guess this for a minute, which is just awful. But you're going to hit, oh look, that wasn't too bad. You're going to click on your eyedropper and hopefully then your green all disappears. And that's what happens. You keyed out the green. That's what we call that. When you key out, you make that part transparent. So we have now keyed out the green part of that. And if you scrub through, you'll see it plays nicely. Ooh, and it flies off. Nice little green screen effect there. If you didn't like the position of that butterfly, obviously you could fix it. If you didn't like the color of your butterfly, you could go change it because you know how to tint as well. I'm actually going to show you another neat little effect here. It's kind of a bonus optional thing on here. But let's change the position of this butterfly right here to 570 and hit enter. Just so it's scooted over to that top left corner if yours wasn't already. We just want it to fly off in that corner there at the end. Okay, good deal. So for this next effect, you're going to type in color balance up here in the effects. Now I will tell you there are two color balances, and the one that we want to use is the RGB color balance. The other one, really hard to use. So if you're doing the little bonus optional thing at the bottom of page 20, make sure you use the color balance RGB. I'm going to drag that onto my butterfly. Now remember, we already have Ultra Key on the butterfly, so we're going to have to scroll down in the effect controls and find color balance. So find it, and then you have a balance for your red, green, and blue tones of the image. And then as we slide those through, you can decrease the amount of green or increase the amount of blue, or do whatever you want to do to make this a different color, different shade, or whatever. I like color balance because it shifts the colors. It doesn't just tint the colors. So you kind of get some different, little looks from it on this one. There we go. So I made that more of a green color on there. And again, that's optional, just kind of a fun thing to do if you want to make the colors match a little bit better. And that gets us to the bottom of page 20.